Okay, now we move on to the third order of anteating mammals that we're dealing with this afternoon. This time we're in the clade Afrotheria. Clade Afrotheria. You'll remember this clade, of course, because we already dealt with two orders of mammals in it, the Tenrecoidea and Macrocelidia, the elephant shrews and the tenrecs and so on. The clade also includes manatees and hyraxes and elephants, the proboscideans, and we will get to those in the near future as well. But this is a big clade that is not completely resolved, if you remember from Kelton Patton. But this is a very unusual monotypic order, monotypic family. What that means is it's just one species here, and the aardvark. One thing I forgot to mention with the two previous videos, of course, is a reminder that those of you using the 4th edition of the Feldhammer textbook, all of these 4 orders were clumped into one chapter in that version of the textbook. It was chapter 16, I believe. Whereas in the 5th edition of the textbook, they are more correctly arranged in accordance with most recent phylogenetic information. So, for example, here we have the aardvark is with some other members of the Afrotheria in chapter 11. There's not an awful lot about it in the textbook. These are amazing animals. They get their name aardvark from the Afrikaans language, and it means ground pig, and they are somewhat pig-like. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Pigs are very intelligent organisms, and these guys are pretty neat as well. They're fossorial, they burrow, and they have a very long snout. We'll take a look at that in a moment, but let's get a few other things about the systematics in order for us. So it's the order Tubulidentata, and tubular dentition, you might be able to guess, is related to the order name, and we will get back to that. And a single family that you need to know, the taxa that you need to know, and the various groupings from order to family and even to species are in bold in your handout. And this is one of those families, the Aricteropidae. So that one kind of runs off the tongue fairly easily. So order Tubulidentata and family Aricteropidae. So now let's take a closer look at this skull. Again, it's a model here. And in some respects, it kind of looks like a big anteater skull. It's kind of long, flattened on top. It's got complete zygomatic arches. Look at that. And if you look at the teeth, you'll see that they're homodont, that they're all fairly similar, and they're kind of peg-like. But they're different from what we saw with the sloths and the anteaters as well. Also see they've got this postorbital process too coming out here. And look at the photo. Well, I showed you the photo in lecture anyway, but you'll see the photo in your textbook, figure 11.8 on page 267, to show what the animals actually look like and why they're supposedly pig-like. The lower jaw is a very distinctive shape as well. See this very tall process up here. This is the coronoid process. This is the angular process here. And again, but look at the teeth, this long, slender jaw with these homodont teeth. Now, if you take a look at your lab manual, there's a description of the teeth there that you need to know. The cheek teeth are homodont, they're columnar, and they consist of numerous vertical tubes of dentine in a matrix of pulp, and there's no enamel present at all. So they have this really unusual structure of vertical tubes of dentine in a matrix of pulp, and there's no enamel at all. Like I said, the zygomatic arch is complete, unlike what you saw in the Myrmecophagidae, and in the next group that you're going to see too, the pangolins, the Pholidota, and they're distributed throughout Central and Southern Africa. So it's one very, very distinctive lower jaw, and the teeth in particular. Let's see, I can try to zoom in on this so you get a better look if possible. But again, it's a model. It's not the same thing as looking at a real skull where you could look at the structure of the teeth themselves. These are replicates of the teeth. So here you can see that columnar structure. But those are just the columnar structure of the teeth as a whole. That's different from the actual makeup of each of the teeth, which are numerous vertical tubes of dentine with no enamel. Let's take another look at the upper part of the skull. I don't know if you're going to be able to see. Yeah, it's hard to make it out here. Very distinctive skull shape. You can't confuse this with a deer or an ungulate or a carnivore. It's very distinctive. Now again, remember, this is a monotypic order, monotypic family. Again, let's just remind you again of the names. Order Tubulidentata, it's just got the one species. There are a number of subspecies described, but I don't think even there's not a lot of confidence in that by all indications either. It's probably in need of a more thorough genetic analysis. So order Tubulidentata, family Erychteropidae. And I expect you to know this one to species as well because it's monotypic. And the genus name is Erychteropus, and out to species it's Erychteropus afer.